title, I could not have fit in more SEO wording if I tried, really, could I? This video is sponsored by me and my signature coaching program, Macros and Mindset Mentorship, where I coach my clients on nutrition, exercise, emotional resilience, and actually align our behaviors with our goals to get the bodies we want. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Sifi. I'm a personal trainer and nutrition coach, and I work with people probably a bit like you, cruising around your mid-30s, largely have your shit together, have professional careers and businesses, as well as running a household, birthing and raising your own set of human beings.
Congratulations, your adjective, squid.
Who do not pay any rent and are as demanding as hell, always have a cold and are always being booted out of nursery.
No, I'm not busy at all.
And you just can't figure out this weight loss thing, right?
Having an actual breakdown.
May as well add commit a crash dieter to your set of skills on LinkedIn. If you are here, you are likely one of my clients, or you're a friend, loose acquaintance, or I have simply just met you and I have begged you to watch this just so I can clock up the watch time. Or my favorite, somebody who has once again smashed into Google,
How do I lose weight?
this video is for you, my friend. I am going to share with you, somebody who is exactly like you, who's in the same phase of life as you, how I took myself from having a case of the obese to being lean and strong and free from that is binge eating disorder. It's 2022, so in the spirit of
I'm offended, I'm triggered
culture, I'm going to disclaimer this video. I am going to use words such as fat and obese and I hated pregnancy so hard. As simply that. Words to convey my sentiment and opinions of my own personal experience, and as factual terms. Fat and thin are descriptive words. Obese is a medical term. I also do not believe in health at every size, but I believe in love, value, and worthiness irrespective of size. I'm also not anti-fat or fat phobic because I don't want to be fat ever again.
Who spanked you?
I stand for body autonomy, and I work with many overweight women who want to lose weight because of none of your damn business, and I also work with a lot of underweight women who would like to gain weight, also down to none of your business. I also love babies. I love my baby. I love pregnancy. On other women, I think it's beautiful, and I so very much wanted my baby, even though I found pregnancy to be literally the worst. I'm 41 now, and I genuinely feel like I've been on this planet for like at least 89 years. So I need to split my weight loss journey into 3 parts. Part 1, the dark ages, fueled by starving myself, developing a binge eating disorder, crash dieting, diet hopping, and excessive cardio exercise. Part 2, the stone ages, where I wasn't necessarily binging daily, I was powerlifting and competing, a bit chunky, medical term, strong as hell, and was a lean eater who largely guessed how to lose weight by avoiding naughty foods. And part 3, the light age, where I actually got my shit together and found the beauty that was flexible dieting, weightlifting. I educated myself on nutrition fundamentals and mindset mastery. Today we are not going to be talking about the dark ages because I don't want to. I will, however, be making an updated version of my 15 years experience battling binge eating disorder and how I ended that. So if you would like to see that, then don't forget to click like, subscribe, and hit the notification to stay informed. And whilst we're on this, I learned how to check my YouTube analytics, and it turns out that 90% of you who watch my videos aren't subscribed. Why? You're watching every damn video, please! Trauma can do a really funny thing to memory, and I'm always fairly convinced that I'm skewing my timeline. But I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say I don't think I really ever absolutely completely obliterated my binge eating disorder until late 2014. And that was when I formally decided to study nutrition, because
I don't have the first damn clue.
and you will find a lot of personal trainers out there don't have a damn clue about nutrition, especially nowadays when all it takes is a few quid and a weekend course to become an expert.
Oh no, she didn't!
I had started binging and purging less because I had got really into powerlifting. When I first got together with my now husband, I had really been through the ringer with an ex-boyfriend who was a total, I'm just gonna say it, twat bag. My anxiety for like 2 years had been set on high. I mean, like, it was like my amygdala was like, ah! When I got back into regular training, I'd lost my nerve. I had spent so many years previously only doing exercises to lose weight, you know, like cardio burn exercises and like, you know, when you're flapping weights around to burn as many calories as possible. I was just really inspired by Rem, who's my now husband, then boyfriend, who looked next level, like a Greek statue. And I had a little bit of a meltdown.
I'm lost. Oh, I'm a lost toy.
It's all like, I don't know how to squat, I don't know how to deadlift, I can't do a push-up.
And he started to show me lots of stuff with like calisthenics and kettlebells and ring work and a lot of upside down shit that I hated. And all the while, it simultaneously inspired me, yet made me feel like a big fat loser. Especially as I was an in-person personal trainer. I had a personal training business. My emotional resilience at that time was not what it is today. So Rem's like, we gotta get this sorted out, and he introduced me to Bulldog, aka Dave Bulldog Beatty. And I was so damn shy, I couldn't even make it to his gym, which is the institution that is Genesis Gym in Wembley. We arranged for me to meet up at his house and we had a consultation, all for getting stronger and building up confidence in the gym, as he ate a massive roast dinner and a pint of squash in his living room. And Dave, who I legitimately still love to this day, I don't think knows how much he did for me when it came to actually starting to really heal my journey with binge eating disorder. Even though I know I've told him enough times. And so was born my powerlifting days. Training was great. I have had some of the best coaching from the best top strength athletes out there, including, I even had a coaching session with Becca Swanson when she came to visit Genesis. Everybody seems to know Dave. Everybody's been to Genesis. The Rock has been to Genesis. Not on a day that I was there. Where was my invite? I would have liked a phone call. My focus for the next few years was just about becoming as strong as humanly possible. I even did a few competitions. Cast my mind back. I know I did always want to be thinner. I was getting pretty thick and strong. I was binging so much less. My weight was largely stable and I was so consistent with my training. But back then I didn't really monitor my stats or anything outside of my lifts and my progression in the gym because I was doing paleo. I know that I always competed in the 75 kilo class and I would always have this desperate scramble down to try and get into the lower weight class, which I think was 68 kilos. I never ever got there. And so I'm pretty confident my weight was always around 75 to 78, which is about 3 to 5 kilos heavier than I am now after having a baby. I was a clean eater, but I didn't have the ridiculous attention to rules like eating things like tuberous vegetables. I one time had somebody yell at me that I shouldn't use the hashtag paleo because I had string beans in my salad. I'm fairly certain they didn't have packaged paleo bars and tinned tuna. My diet on the whole was a really nutrition-packed diet of
Clean foods.
and I was as low a carbohydrate as humanly possible. I would never eat bread. I would never eat pasta. I would never eat grains or legumes. I would never ever eat anything that was post the agricultural revolution because, paleo caveman life. I still don't care that much for pasta. I love me some sourdough bread though. I was just genuinely completely clueless about nutrition and it was all based on what I thought to be true, my beliefs. I wouldn't eat rice for fear of gaining weight, but would pour maltodextrin into my protein shakes because a fitness influencer told me to. I also fueled all my training sessions with Red Bulls and Percy Pigs. It's insane, isn't it? I was like a sheep, a lamb that was lost. So although I wasn't really doing crazy diets or diet hopping like I used to, I still had no idea whether it was okay to eat chocolate. I was scared of hummus. I had a great and strong idealistic idea of what eating healthy looked like in my kind of perfect mindset. And I had a very clear idea of what foods were bad. Oh, I still ate the bad foods though. I restricted all these bad foods, which also happened to be really delicious. So what do you think happened? I would binge on them and I would eat all these foods like it was the last time I was ever going to eat a burger because I was not eating in alignment with my clean eating evangelical idea of what health looked like. Thus we birthed the dawn of light. I stopped powerlifting, but I took with it a sheer love of weightlifting. And I just stopped powerlifting simply because my personal trainer business was growing. I was busy working both in Knightsbridge and Windsor, and it was just getting harder and harder to schlep on over between clients to Wembley and having like 2-hour-long training sessions. And training powerlifting on your own is like really dull and also dangerous. I mean, I don't care what all you CrossFitters do, but like maxing out a squat on your own is just... I had just decided that there had to be some kind of logic when it came to food. I'm not really sure what I thought. I definitely didn't understand how some people could eat chocolate and I couldn't. I kept hearing the term macros being bandied around and I had no idea they were really talking in relation to calories. I thought after years of trying to sustain 500 calories a day, I failed every single day. I just thought calories were a bad thing. I just really wanted to learn more because remember, I thought that hummus was a bad thing. So I went to nutrition school and I learned so much. I learned about metabolism, macronutrients, micronutrition, energy expenditure. I actually learned what a damn calorie was. I learned about practical application of nutrition science. I learned about energy conservation. And I learned that hummus wasn't actually in fact evil, but just had a caloric load to it in the same way that everything we eat does. And I'm telling you now, it was very, very humbling to learn that some of the foods that I was eating that were safe were actually far more calorically dense than a lot of the foods I was too scared to eat because I thought they were fat. I mean, I just thought it was seriously the coolest thing that I was ever doing, and I threw myself into being this one massive walking experiment, tracking my calories and my macros. And bear in mind, I was doing this all at a time before like real big fitness influencers and if it fits your macros and flexible dieting was a massive big thing. I don't even think that I was on Instagram then. For years, I had been so closed off to the idea that counting calories could be a healthy thing to do. But it's funny how context, as in with everything, really matters. And FYI, if you read articles or see posts of people saying counting calories or tracking your macros is actually hiding an eating disorder, then I would urge you to exercise some independent and critical thinking skills. As somebody who near as damn killed myself with an eating disorder for over 15 years, tracking macros and learning how to count calories and learning numerical portion size was instrumental to finally obliterating my binge eating disorder. I only wish I had learned it years beforehand. I'm gonna give myself some credit here. It took a lot of guts. I was eating foods I'd been formerly fearful to eat. I was terrified to eat anything that wasn't clean or paleo, and I identified as being like a paleolithic eater. And all that happened is I started to lose weight and lean out whilst eating a larger range of food and eating more calories than I ever thought was possible. And on top of that, my binge eating episodes became less and less and less because I was actually factoring in these fear foods, these off-limit foods regularly into my daily diet, which meant that I didn't need to eat them because I started giving myself permission to eat these foods with moderation. And I was growing more and more secure in the knowledge that food is just food. There is no moral code, there is no right or wrong, it's just food. Once I started actually tracking my macros and using things like MyFitnessPal to like look at where I was with my nutrition, I started paying attention to all my data, and I still do to this day. I'm fascinated by it. I've been really enjoying, like in the making of this video, looking through like my old journals and my old my keeper of my stats. Oh man, hang on. I was getting married and I really enjoyed the process of getting my body ready to get married. Yes, I wanted to lean up to look my best on my wedding day. Remember, body autonomy here. And I started my diet in the beginning of January 2015 at 80 kilos, and I got married in the May at like 72 kilos. I did a diet that I set up for myself using flexible dieting with no restriction other than sticking with my calories and my macros, and it was smooth and easy. I got married in Mauritius and it was beautiful, and I looked like this, thank you very much, and I lived very happily macro tracked after. Then I got pregnant. I had a very uncomplicated, physically healthy and active pregnancy, which is a whole other issue in and of itself. And I loathed every damn minute of growing my beautiful baby boy until the very day that I actually birthed him into this world, and I had the best day ever. He was huge and he looked like a squished up bullfrog. Now, the last time I weighed myself prior to giving birth, I was 94 kilos on the 26th of May, but I went on to be pregnant for like at least another 98 days after that, and I got big. I'm guessing that I got way up there to like 95, 98 kilos. I reckon through my whole pregnancy, I must have easy gained 20 to 25 kilos. My son weighs that now, he's 6. I weighed myself 1 week postpartum and I was 91 kilos. So I guess I must have lost anywhere between like, I don't know, 3 and 7 kilos. And then I proceeded to do absolutely nothing to lose weight. 4 months. I genuinely thought I would be right back at it, you know? I had been so fit and so well throughout my pregnancy. I was a fitness professional, but nope. It took me like 6 months to even have the bandwidth to even contemplate trying to get my body back. I just couldn't get into a regular exercise regime. I had chronic pain through all my joints and my sternum and my feet, my wrists, my knees.
Everything hurts and I'm dying.
And every time I trained or did anything outside walking, man, even walking hurt, but I still walked. I had my baby strapped to me and I was walking everywhere. But I really didn't do anything, and my body just naturally let go of some weight. And I didn't do anything active to lose weight until 10 months after I had my baby. I did not track macros at any point during this time. And by that point, I weighed about 85.3 kilos.
I did not think it was going to be as much as that. That's my baby crying in the background.
I'd had enough. I was sick of myself. My joints were hurting all the time. It wasn't getting better. It turned out I had a big case of plantar fasciitis, and as a trainer, I used to
Just do it!
Sorry that I ever thought that, because it is agony. But I did want to get back to my pre-pregnancy body and better. I always had it in my head that once I had kids and when I was in my 40s, I wanted to look better than ever. Back to flexible dieting. We spoke about it earlier. What do you think I did?
I am gonna do this. I am going to get thin. Witness, 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 witness.
I went back to what worked. We spoke before about prior to pregnancy, I had found this thing that was tracking macros and counting calories and flexibly dieting. And I was including all foods in my diet. A woman who had been scared of hummus, who had a binge eating disorder prior to that, had lost 8 kilos easily in 3 months. There's no need to always try and find the newest thing, the sexiest thing. Go back to what works, to be consistent with what works. I was, however, struggling a little bit with motivation. It's really hard to feel motivated when you have a baby, you're growing a business. I'm in the gym all the time with my coaching clients. I'm building my online business. I've still got chronic pain. I'm toing and froing back and forth to Windsor with a baby in the car and driving at 5:30 in the morning and coming back late at night. So I just hired a coach to help me with my training. And I have been working with coaches off and on over the past few years. I do believe as a coach that I should be coached by other people, but I never let anyone touch my diet. And I booked her for 8 weeks and we dropped, I think, 6 kilos altogether. And we were prioritizing fat loss and overall weight loss as my primary goal. Then I went it alone because I had enough momentum behind me to push through, and I got down to my typical weight prior to having a baby. And I maintained that until we got to 2018, when I decided this is the year of physique. And this is when I really wanted to focus on building some size, building some shape, creating muscle, and getting all the curves in the right places. Here I am now. I have spent the last 3.5 years doing pretty much nothing but continuing to flexibly diet. I've spent a great amount of time reverse dieting so I can up my calorie ceiling, so I can eat more because I've got a big appetite. I've spent plenty of time actively bulking, meaning eating more than my energy requirements so I could build some muscle size. And largely I've spent the majority of my life living in and around maintenance. diet. And that, my friends, is the very definition of a successful diet. When you can live in and around maintenance. It's the ability to be able to maintain the results you get from doing your diet. I work with clients who maintain their results for years. Flexible dieting, it works. I am just so damn stinking glad that all those years ago I did go to the trouble of really up-tooling and going wholeheartedly into nutrition, and then allowed myself to experiment and build this flexible lifestyle for myself. Learning to track macros and learning numerical portion size, which is what tracking macros and counting calories is. It's numerical portion size, was so fundamental in my journey, taking me from disempowered, anorexic, refusing to eat, skinny little Sifi to like binge eating, obese Sifi, to the strong, fit, lean, emotionally resilient woman that I am and coach that I am today. And I'll take anyone on who has these bullshit statements of
Tracking your macros is just as starting an eating disorder.
I mean, I will literally glove up. That's it. That's my little story. If you've been watching a few videos of mine and you like this content, don't forget to let the algorithm know by clicking like, subscribe, leaving me a comment below. And if you're thinking to yourself, wow, Sifi seems really super cool, I'd like to work with her, I'll leave all my details below about my coaching program. Until next time, I hope you stay fit, well, and healthy, and I'll see you again.